Heart First leadership isn't what you say, it's how you show up, how you regulate, how you communicate, and how you execute when it matters most. We are Heidi and Ryan Sawyer, and you are listening to the Heart First Leadership Podcast. There we go. Yeah.
Welcome to the Integrated Mindset Podcast. I am Ryan Sawyer, your co-host, alongside with my wife,
Heidi Sawyer.
And that's her. There you are. And here we are again, back for our series on the 15 commitments of conscious leadership. We are on the second, right? Second one?
Second commitment.
Yeah, the second commitment.
This is the fourth part in the series, but we're going over the second commitment.
I'm just going to check real fast to make sure we are live on our Integrated Mindset Facebook page, and we are.
Looking good. We got it down.
Congratulations, Heidi. I'm going to go ahead and like it. I'm going to like my own thing there. Is that weird? Do people still do that? And it looks like someone's watching, or no, that's us.
That's you.
Okay.
Watching you.
That's
all
okay.
Right.
So welcome, everybody. We are excited about this conversation today. Curiosity is the second commitment. This is a wonderful, the taking responsibility is the first commitment. Second commitment is curiosity. And these two things go hand in hand. They play off of each other, and they're really the foundation of our conversations going forward. One thing I have come to terms with is I believe in this series, we're going to probably repeat ourselves a few times, but that's part of understanding how all these things are intertwined. So Let's just jump in, because I know that this is going to go quick. We're going to keep it to 30 minutes. If you are hopping on, please engage with through the social media platform, ask a question, add some feedback. Give us your insights.
Yeah, I know there are several people reading the book along with us, and we're doing some connecting inside our private community as well. So extend the invite to you to join that. We'll put the link in the comments later on. But I want to start by reading the commitment before we get going. So commitment number 2 is learning through curiosity. And the commitment is, I commit to growing in self-awareness. I commit to regarding every interaction as an opportunity to learn, and I commit to curiosity as a path to rapid learning.
Yep.
So
self-awareness, curiosity, learning. This is all the point. That's it. That's the podcast.
Yeah.
I think I said the same thing last week.
Well, the first commitment was to take radical responsibility. That's what we talked about last week. And in that first commitment, what we're committing there is that we are done blaming and complaining. We're done blaming other people or circumstances for the results that we're getting in our life. So then the second commitment, of course, naturally is learning through curiosity. So this is really what we're going to be talking about, which is learning to value learning over being right. And
sounds easy. It's a massive shift. One of the things I want to, as I was driving back home today from a prior engagement, and I was listening to the book, I was listening to the audio one more time, listen to this chapter. They use the word leadership, right? And I think sometimes we initially come out of the gates and say, well, I'm not like a CEO leader. I'm not leading some big team. I'm not managing a bunch of people, right? So I'm not a leader. I'm not a coach of a sports team or whatever that may look like. Yeah. We all are living our own lives. And I want to just say, like, this is the 15 commitments to conscious living.
Yes.
And the benefit, just to project and like to remind ourselves why we're having this conversation, like pause and not just present the content and to connect dots for ourselves and for others who are engaging with this conversation and reading the book along with us. But to remember, like, when we make these shifts, because we'll talk more about shifting as we progress forward, when we learn when to be aware and show ourselves compassion and accept when we're below the line and shift to being back above the line, the impact that makes in our own lives, in our relationships, in our marriages, with our kids, teenagers, children, how that shows them how to live this very open, cooperative, curious, wondrous, exploring life that's exciting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we are subject to a negative bias towards our mind being trained by the world, by an overload of information, by an overload of expectations that are external, that have nothing to do with us. And it causes us to become not only just negative, but it steals any sort of zest for life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll talk more about it in a minute, but just this idea of it is possible to live with a sense of a childlike sense of wonder. Like this is possible. And when you do that, you begin to allow for your brain to like coordinate. We're talking about this strong prefrontal cortex. And this is so important. The reason why I'm just going to illustrate this for a moment is our children, if you're a parent, your children's prefrontal cortex is not developed and it won't be developed until, up towards the age of 25 years old. It continues to develop, right? So the most important thing is that we are modeling, this is why it's don't tell them, show them. We are modeling a strong prefrontal cortex. A strong prefrontal cortex would look like this. It would look like one that is very curious. And so I want you to keep that in mind as we go through this, as we have this conversation. I want to just remind you, this is about conscious living. This is about conscious parenting. This is about conscious leadership. This is about being able to model a strong prefrontal cortex that makes you be a more creative, a collaborative human and enjoy life more.
Yeah. And to look at life with curiosity. That's what we're talking about in this commitment, is looking at life with curiosity and wonder instead of this commitment to be right or to validate our own egos, as opposed to learning and growing from. And that's what we're here for.
So before we go any further with that, like they talk about self-awareness, the ability to learning agility, which is being curious, right? And these components are the foundation of curiosity. So awareness, like if you don't know, if you're not paying attention, if you're not slowing down enough, if you're not somehow connecting to your breath in any way, shape, or form to recognize that you're living beneath the line, like you're just completely asleep. You're unconscious. You're probably not even listening to this podcast, right? So
that's not you if you're listening to this conversation.
But the point is, our awareness becomes the first and foremost component of our transformation, of our ability then to do something about it. We're taking something legitimately out of the subconscious mind, our unconscious mind, in the shadows, and we're bringing it up into our conscious awareness and going, that pattern, that thought pattern, that belief, that way of treating myself and or relating to the world, that's unconscious. That is a pattern. This is creating a certain result in my life. That is something I want to shift. Yeah. Right. And why it's so important to build that awareness and to have some sort of a mindfulness practice so we're able to take things out of the unconscious and bring them up into our conscious workshop so we can learn to shift them. Yep. Okay. So anyway.
Yeah. And that's taking that goes back to the first commitment, which is to take responsibility. So to take responsibility, we've got to bring something into our awareness and then move into a place of curiosity as well.
So let's talk about, like we have done, I think in the past, and I think there's a bit of a trend here where we're navigating first what it looks like to be beneath the line and then really this one's about shifting. We start the conversation about shifting. So we'll go into that. So well, what does it look like to be beneath the line?
Yeah. So the below the line commitment is I commit to being right and seeing this situation as something that is happening to me. I commit to being defensive, especially when I am certain that I am right.
So this is what I want to, they talk about this in the book, but this is something that, we have studied a lot, is understanding this need to be right is based in our egoic survival, which is also based in the idea of well-being, like your actual physical survival. These two, and I've said this before on the podcast, I think multiple times, but based upon how we are wired to conserve energy for self-preservation, this means that if my ego, my way of being in the world, how my self-concept, if that gets challenged, then I may get socially rejected. I may get kicked out of my tribe. And eventually that could potentially lead to death of the system. So it can feel the same to my body if I'm being challenged of what I think is right based upon my perception, based upon my paradigm and my experiences I've had in life. If that gets challenged, then whether it's how I currently view the world or how I have always viewed the world, and all of a sudden we start to find out. I remember this happened to me when a lot of things were being uncovered. It was like what I thought was right was not true.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's a big difference. What happened was this. Well, I didn't want to let that go because that would mean I spent the last 30 years of my life wrong.
Yeah.
So I was like, not only like kind of addicted to it, but attached to it, because then I'd have to acknowledge that I have spent 30 years, 35 years, and now I'm 45. So if I found out something today I wasn't right about myself or the world or anything, that means that I'd have to acknowledge that the last 45 years of my life, I've been wrong, quote unquote. Wrong, right? And so I think it's important to recognize like this idea of need to be right. If you're somebody who finds that happening, that means you're beneath the line, you're in a conversation with somebody, and in there, it's politics, it's religion, it's whatever. It's this need to be right is based in your survival, because if you're wrong, that's going to help you. That's going to make you feel like you're going to be rejected by your tribe, and it's going to lead towards a potential that is not going to be, your well-being is being challenged. Like you're not going to be able to survive and safe. So
and
it's
also
death to the system.
That feeling of the lack of being able to identify as that ego, as that somebody, is threatening to us. So this is great. This is a great conversation to keep in mind. Maybe there's somebody in your life, maybe you have someone at work or someone that you're in relationship with, and they're one of these people that wants to be right all the time. It's great to understand this material. It's great to understand how this works for you so that you can have compassion for that other person.
It doesn't mean you need to tell them like, hey, wait a minute, you're beneath the line.
Hey, you need to be more self-aware. And
clearly you're operating from beneath the line.
That. But I think that these things are helpful so that we can take a look in the mirror for ourselves and look to improve the way that we're interacting in the world in our relationships. But it's also really valuable to see these things in other people and kind of understand where they're coming from, or where they could be coming from with their defensiveness or needing to be right.
Well, and I love this because, Heidi, when we no longer, again, take responsibility, we no longer like try to show somebody else that they're below the line. And we just go ahead and live from above the line. I'm not saying this is easy. It's not always happening because we're constantly fluxing back and forth. We're drifting, which we'll talk about in a minute. But when we live from as much as we possibly can, from our capacity, our current awareness, from above the line, we legitimately are pulling people up. Like you think about mentorship is like reaching up for help and reaching down for help at the same time. And when I allow for myself to be in this open, curious stance, and I'm living in relationship to another person, to myself or to somebody else, above the line, that is pulling that other person up. That's pulling my own ego up, right? Because now I'm programming my body and my cells and my genetics to be at a different vibration. I'm also like in a marriage, let's say, like if I'm living above the line, you're below the line, it's the natural tendency is for me to go live below the line with you, but I'm like,
you're to match energy with the person.
But I'm like, here I am. I'm going to stay open and curious while she's beneath the line, and then that's going to allow for her to naturally create an environment where she's going to naturally drift up with me, or not drift probably, but shift up with me, with me to above the line.
So it's like, it really is about this sense of wonder and curiosity that they're talking about in this chapter is about the experience. So being curious and wondering how you're going to learn from a situation is not really the way that they describe it. It's not trying to figure out something. It's not trying to solve a problem or get a specific answer. It's actually just wondering how can I learn from this? How can other people benefit from this?
So before we go into wonder, I want to hit one more thing I have written down. I got one more point.
We have separate notes because we went through the book, and so we're kind of
we haven't compared notes. So listen, so this is something that's really interesting. What is they say this a little bit different in the book. This is how I took it based upon muscle testing from David Hawkins' work, because this work overlaps with David Hawkins' work incredibly, like the scale of states and the scale of emotions and transcending consciousness, right? Is what is true mean true as in universally true. What is true as in like law of universal principle does not have to be defended. And also in muscle testing shows like incredible strength and power, that muscles actually get stronger. If you feel like you have to defend yourself on what you think is true, that is this need to be right. Like if you think like, oh yeah, but I'm right, and you have to defend it, then that is something that's already shown has holes poked in it.
We are all leaders. If you're ready to stop waiting and start impacting your environment in a powerful way, we want to connect with you. Click the Book Now link in the show notes to book a call with a Heart First coach and discover what Heart First leadership can look like in your life and in your environment. Now back to the show. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So
Does that
it's
make
more
sense?
your,
you have to,
right. Attachments.
So there's a difference between what is right and what is true. What is true universally and what is just right based upon somebody's story.
Okay. So they gave an example of this in the book.
They gave
an example of people at one of their leadership retreats where they had them, basically rate how true 2 + 2 = 4 is. And how convicted they were that was the right answer. And then they had that people think of something in their life where they felt adamantly that they were right about some opinion or, quote unquote fact. And then they compared the difference between their need, this like internal need that they were having to want to defend the thing that they thought they were right about versus defending the answer 2 + 2 = 4. And because 2 + 2 = 4 was just a factual, universally true thing,
right. And so
there's no one there to poke a hole in that. So there was less need to prove and be right about.
Right. So like this is something I think comes up a lot when people start arguing about like even spiritual beliefs or if it's true to you, you shouldn't have to defend it.
Right.
Right. So that's just an inspection point.
Yeah.
So we have the awareness that we're beneath the line. Let's talk about shifting, because again, there's a couple components in here that are very much so like just absolutely interwoven into what we teach at Integrated Mindset, which Integrated Mindset is a mindset that we teach in a 10-week course, right? That allows for us to live above the line. Like it is, this is baked into it. And if you want more information about that, please reach out. There's a 5 steps to recreating yourself masterclass in our community, Integrated Human Performance community on Mighty Networks. It's off of social media. It's free to join the course. It's free to join that masterclass. And we're here. We're doing this. And so, would love to answer questions and connect with you. If you want to have further connection and structure and accountability and practice to be able to make sure you're living above the line, I just highly recommend. So that's my little plug as we continue. So
there it is, people.
All right. So you have the awareness that you're beneath the line. Now what do you do? Yeah. So because if we are living beneath the line and we are in survival, that means that there is probably a inflated nervous system, which means or a triggered fired up nervous system, which means that we're living in some sort of fight or flight. And which again, all these things snowball because now my prefrontal cortex legitimately is offline. So my ability to be creative and collaborative is
that's your critical thinking.
So is it possible for me to be able to be in this place of wonder if I'm living beneath the line, or is there something I have to do to actually shift myself to that place?
Yeah. So you've got to shift your physiology first.
So you got to shift the physiology first. What looks like what?
It looks like taking a conscious breath.
Yeah.
It can look like radically changing your posture. So you've probably noticed when you've been in a conversation or you've been talking with someone and the thought process is negative or defensive, there's some specific postures that happen. I mean, this is one of them, right? Crossing your arms is a good common defensive posture, just being closed off. If you can open your posture, if you can open up to that curiosity, to that feeling of curiosity and wonder, and take a breath, then that's just a really simple thing that you can do to shift your physiology so that you can start to have a different experience, get out of that fight or flight, and actually have access to that part of your brain that makes you more collaborative, helps you to access the critical thinking and problem solving.
So this is why we train, right? We use this concept of going and shifting from beneath the line to above the line, and we train our breath. We're aware of our breath. We learn to guide our breath. We learn to have the proper cadence with our breath. So when these things come up, because they do come up and they will come up, we're able to actually shift and get ourselves back above the line. So yeah, I mean, we could talk about the breath for days, but
let's talk about drifting a little bit more. Like what they call drifting in the book is where you find you're in a situation where you're either doing a defensive posture, you're trying to defend, or you might be outright trying to avoid the situation altogether and buffering with something like, looking at your phone or getting distracted. They give a whole bunch of examples here. Worrying, concealing, blaming, complaining, spacing out, looking interested, getting righteous, withholding. You could be eating, doing, compulsive working, checking your phone, those types of things. So those are all ways that we can drift and notice that we're not living above the line. We are not committed to being open and curious. We're more committed to either avoiding the conflict altogether or being defensive. Yeah.
So
just wanted to highlight what some of those are.
One of the great questions is just, where am I? Right? To build the awareness, where am I? And then if you notice yourself beneath the line, this is where, so it goes from like responsibility and the courage to take a look at where am I, right? And then it comes into compassion, right? This is where legitimately we have to be able to accept without judgment. This is, we teach what's called the 3 A's, right? So attention, acceptance, and allowance is a way that we actually simplify the ability to practice compassion so we can let go and then therefore be able to come back online to be able to get our mind back into a place of wonder so we can be curious and ask the next question. So to shift from that drifting state is a breath, is a posture, is an awareness, is an acceptance. Otherwise, we're going to be suppressing and we're going to become a pressure cooker, right? And so then we're able to shift. We actually call it surrender and shift, but then we're able to shift and ask the first question that comes in my mind is always, how is this for me? How does this lead to growth? But then there's a whole entire list of questioning that are called open-ended questions, or in our journal, we call it powerful questioning, where it's a question. Before we go into these questions, it's a question that is exploring, is a question that is unknown. It means that it's more about asking the question than it is about trying to figure out the answer. Again, we're overriding and we're kind of working above how our natural mind works of trying to always be a problem solver, task oriented, completion things and figuring things out and having the answer. This is about just asking a question and allowing for there to not be the answer and allowing for yourself to rest in this place of wonder where you don't know the answer and you're not looking for it. And I want you to just experience that for a moment. Like allow for yourself to like sit back. Even when I'm doing this, I'm talking about this, I found myself sitting back and kind of gazing up and kind of just being like, right? Allow for yourself to take that posture of being open. Ask, how is this for me? What's the rest of it? What's more?
Yeah. So some of the questions I love this one. This is, I wonder what I can learn today that will benefit everyone.
I love that one
because it's coming from such a high level of awareness of other people and service. The world at large. Yeah. Just of service. Like, what can I learn today that will benefit everyone? And that could be, what can I learn today that will benefit everyone on my team? What could I learn today that will benefit everyone in my family? What could I learn today that could benefit everyone in the world? So you can ask those open-ended questions. I wonder how we could get more done in less time. It's not specific. It's very open. And when we ask ourselves those open questions like this, an incredible thing happens. It doesn't happen when you push for it and resist against not knowing what the answer is, but it happens when you let go of the need to be right or have the answer, or control the situation. The answer comes to you. And it's really magical. I wonder what I could do today that would allow for a breakthrough in my life. I wonder how abundance is showing up in my life today.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the interesting piece based upon some of the stuff that we study with neuroscience is you ask these powerful questions, these open-ended questions where you're not really actually looking for the answer, trying to figure it out, but you ask it. You're giving your brain an actual task. And then it'll go to work to find the answer. Yeah. So if it's one of them that's more practical, I like the practical one because sometimes it helps people to start with something practical. I wonder what I can, no. What was it?
How do we get done?
Less time. Yeah. I wonder how we could get more done in less time. Like if you're a business owner or anything, right? Like,
or just you have things to do around the house. You
right.
More done in less
time. Next thing you know, your kids are helping you fold laundry. You're like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
I'm getting the laundry done in less time. It's awesome, right? And it allows for you to have a new experience because this is so incredibly important. There's two things I want to highlight. First is that we are living in this wondrous state. Actually, there's three. So, first is that this is the natural state of our mind. All you have to do to validate that is look at a child. Right? Yeah. Is children live in this place of wonder. They're constantly asking questions. Everything is a new experience to them. So they're creating all kinds of new connections, right? And so wonder, actually stillness and wonder is the natural state of our mind. We just get all involved in the service drop. And so we disturb the whole thing, right? So wonder is this place that we find when we go beneath all of our service chop. That, again, something that we teach. So first of all, it's a natural state of the mind. Second of all, when you begin to open up into this place of wonder, it can feel unknown and unfamiliar, right? So it can feel uncomfortable to be in the unknown and to not have the answer. But in all reality, like this place of humility is actually the resting place where the mind will the brain will at first process that as a threat. Anything unknown or unfamiliar, when you first start practicing this, even though it's our natural state, it'll first be like, well, yeah, but you got to figure out the answer. But yeah, but, right? So it's our natural state of our mind. And when we begin to practice it, it will feel uncomfortable and it'll feel unnatural. In this unknown and unfamiliar place, the brain will process as a threat again, because it's going to take some energy, you guys. It's going to take some energy. Now, here's my third piece. And I almost forgot what it was, but it just came back to me, is if we want to create a new experience of ourselves, okay? Because this is what we're talking about doing, right? Yeah. This is about transformation, okay? If we want to create a new experience of ourselves, which is going to create a new experience in the world, which is going to create a new experience in our family, which is going to create a new experience in our community, which is going to create a new world, right? Our brain changes the structure of the brain when we have new experiences. If we don't allow for ourselves to rest in a place of wonder, go to new places we've never been before.
New neurological pathways are formed.
New neurological pathways are formed because you're having a new experience, because you're asking powerful questions and open-ended questions without seeking for the answer. You're giving your brain that task to do. This is one of the reasons why recently I have said no to a friend of mine on going on a trip that we've gone on 4 or 5 years in a row, because I've already had that experience and I'm looking for new experiences because I desire to experience greater capacities of who I am and explore what that feels like and looks like and make new neurological connections and be adventurous in new and different ways. Go to places we've never been to before, and or at least my kids have never been to before. So I see them staying in a place of wonder, right? So then that becomes the focus, and it's unfamiliar, so it feels like a threat. So it takes energy, so it's going to feel uncomfortable. So your brain might be I don't know about this. You better figure out the answer. But if you can rest there, you'll create new experiences. You'll create new structure of your brain. You'll create a new self-concept, and that's what changes the world.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
I'm done. I always get to a place where in these conversations, we're like, all right, I've said everything I want to say. Now it's your turn.
Yeah. So we're going to drift, right? Like we're going to listen to something like this, or hopefully you're reading the book along with us. You're going to read a book like this and go, yeah, you know what? I'm committed. I want to learn through curiosity. I want to ask these open-ended questions. When I see myself wanting to be right and getting defensive in a situation, I want to be able to detach from that and back up and be curious. But we're going to drift, because we're humans, and this is a new set of behaviors. Mm-hmm. So it's not if we're going to drift, it's for how long until you become aware of it. Mm-hmm. It's building building this self-awareness and learning agility, which these are the two factors that in these studies that they did in this book, these are the two factors that they found were the most important for the foundation of conscious leadership. And like we talked about, you're a leader in your life, whether you run a business or have a team or coach a sports team or whatever, you are the leader of your own life. And you are the number one factor in dictating the experience of life and the relationships that you're having. And life it's just that. It's all about relationship. So it's not, am I going to drift? It's for how long until I build the awareness and the learning agility to notice that I'm drifting and do that shifting technique that we talked about, taking the conscious breath, opening up the posture, changing to an open posture, and then getting really curious and asking one of these wonder questions to engage yourself into a place of curiosity.
And then shortening as we become more and more aware and noticing the drifting and how we drift, become aware of our patterns, shortening what we call the refractory period. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it the refractory period, the amount of time we spend in the drift, the amount of time we spend beneath the line. Yeah. And then that's how we live more consciously from above the line, becoming more of a creator, the hero of our life, and therefore then new experiences. And
yeah, I love how each of these commitments is going to lead into and also take us back to the previous one, because this is about, self-awareness is about taking responsibility. And that was the first commitment. And next week, we're going to be talking about feeling all feelings, which is critical to this process as well.
Yes, men. If you're a man, you're to be conscious and aware and awake and a creator of your life. You have to allow for yourself to feel all of your feelings to completion.
Yeah, you get to feel them.
Yeah. You get to feel them.
Yeah. You get to
Did I say have to?
Yeah. You get to experience it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. But again, we're going to do our best just to kind of tie these concepts together. And hopefully by the end of this whole series, we'll have wrapped the whole thing in a bow, and you'll have some good, tangible ways that you can build awareness and shift from below the line to above the line by listening to these. So
and
again,
if you're thinking about reaching out, just go ahead and do it. Don't wait.
Yeah. Reach out, join the community and be a part of the conversation there. We are over time now, so we are going to say goodbye, and we will see you next time. Thank you for listening. Remember, leaders go first. Alignment matters, and the environment that you create is the legacy you'll leave. We'll see you on the next episode.